Hi everyone, Jus4SweetZ here. Today we are going to make a version of apple pie with the holidays here. This is just a different little thing you can do. Everybody doesn't always eat the pie, and so these are really fun to make, and you can pre-make them or make them the day the day of. So we are going to make individual handheld apple pies, and we're going to use some dulce de leche in there, or some sweetened condensed milk, to caramelize them inside and make them. I am so sorry. I don't know why this happens when I'm making my videos. Must be a nervous reaction. We're going to make them dulce de leche style, and so they're going to be nice and caramely inside and taste really, really good. And you can serve them individually with whipped cream, ice cream, whatever you want to do. And then they're easy to store and put into lunches as well. So let's get started. I had already started two. They're in the oven ready to pull out here in a few minutes. So I'm going to show you what I did here. I have a Granny Smith apple, and those are the best to bake your apple pies with. And I just use my slicer that I have. It's a slicer corer. Have to give it a little bit of strength, but that's okay. Okay, so basically what I did is I went ahead and sliced my apple. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. Now you can, if you don't have this, you can peel it and core it yourself. So I went ahead and peeled each individual apple, and then I kind of take it into 2 or 3 slices depending on how thick it is, and then I cut it into thirds. So it's really simple. So let's do it one more time. All right. Go ahead and peel that. And then I turn it this way and we cut it into 2s or 3s slices. So just like that. And then pile them on top of each other and cut them into thirds. Now you can do this if you have an easier version. Feel free to do it. This is just the way that I'm doing it right now. I'm sure there's much easier ways than what I'm doing to myself. So you could continue doing that with an apple, and I would say that each apple probably makes at least 4 or 5 handheld pies. So you get a lot out of it, and it's just like the perfect bite. So it's not too much, not too little. And then what I did is I went ahead and I added about a teaspoon to a tablespoon, so just eye it, of packed brown sugar, because the dulce de leche sweetened condensed milk is sweetened itself. So I'm just trying to get it to, I'm adding some caramelization to it as it cooks. I also add about a half a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste or vanilla extract, whichever you like. Now you can also use fresh vanilla bean if you have that instead of the vanilla bean paste. Then we're going to take some apple pie spice and just kind of shake it in there. And I don't have a lot left. I really need to get some more. So in the case that you don't have apple pie spice, just shake some cinnamon and some nutmeg in there. And, just to coat it. So you don't need a ton of it. I would say maybe a half a teaspoon of cinnamon and a couple pinches of nutmeg, because a little goes a long way with those. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and you want to stir all these together. And you just want to make sure all the apples are coated with the cinnamon, the brown sugar, and the vanilla bean paste. So just stir to coat. And while you're doing this, you want to make sure that you have your oven preheated on 375 degrees, and you want to get a baking pan lined with parchment paper. That's the best way to do it. All right, so we're going to move over. I've already started some, so I have my station has already been used, but we're going to go ahead and do this. Okay. So here's the pastry, and all it is refrigerated pie crust. I didn't make a homemade pie crust, just a refrigerated pie crust. And you want to go ahead and you want to cut these out with cookie cutters, or you can use the lid to a mason jar. So that's pretty easy. I also have a big pumpkin cut out if you want to do that. You can also fill them with pumpkin pie if you want, but I'm going to just show you the mason jar trick for right now. And I have a pumpkin in the oven, and I'll show you that one when it comes out. So you just go ahead, and I went ahead on my countertop and I put powdered sugar. I use that over flour because it coats the pastry with a nice sugary taste. You can use flour if you want, but the powdered sugar works just as well. So go ahead and just cut those out. And what I would do here normally is put this on my parchment paper. So what I might do is grab a plate, because my parchment paper is in the oven. Let me move this over just a tad. I'm a little discombobulated today. I apologize. I have to go to work. I have to get ready for Thanksgiving. So I'm kind of doing a lot of this stuff on the fly, I guess. But I'm going to actually maybe, you know, serve these tonight for dessert to give them a try. So what I did is I'm going to go ahead. Here's the powdered sugar side, and here's the side that was up. I'm going to put the powdered sugar side down. And what you want to do is take your pie filling, and you're going to want to stick it straight in the center. And get it as flat as you can. Remember, these apples are going to cook down, but you also don't want them bursting out the seams. So you just need a little bit of apple per pie. Just enough to give everybody that sweet taste. Okay, make sure some of that brown sugar mixture's in there with it. And then I take the sweetened condensed milk. Now I had some technical difficulties getting it open. If you can't tell, this can did not want to open. So I'm just kind of pouring it on top and drizzling it. And you just want to drizzle maybe a half a teaspoon into each one of these handheld pies. So I'm going to go ahead and drizzle that on. All right. And so that's going to mix with the caramel, or with the brown sugar and the vanilla bean paste and the cinnamon or apple pie spice. I'm also going to drizzle just a tad bit of some melted butter in there. Not a lot, just a little bit to give it a nice buttery flavor. Now we're going to take our top pie crust, powdered sugar side up, and we're going to place that over the top of this. Now, just like with fondant, you want to be nice and gentle with it, and you need to make sure that your pie crust is at room temperature. It's the best way to work with it. If it's too cold, it's gonna break. So you have a nice room temperature pie crust. You're gonna go ahead and just lightly rub around the apples and push it down so that you form a little pocket without tearing it. So just very gently. Again, the key to this is a room temperature pie crust. And just like with peanut butter cookies, you're going to get a fork. Check the ones that are in the oven. Okay. You're going to take a fork, and you're going to press the edges down, just like this. And you want them to stick, and normally they do. For some reason, I'm having an issue. In the case that they don't stick, you can put a little bit of water or butter on those edges to seal them. You can also use your finger to seal the edges. You don't have to use the fork. And I will probably go along and do that because I don't want this to pop open in the oven as it's baking. So just press your edges down. See, it's starting to stick. And you can kind of slide it back too. So that'll help seal it together as well. Just go like that and press back. Okay, and then I take the inside of the fork and just go around the edges with it. And just pull all that pie crust together so we don't have little remnants of it out there. And get these out of the oven. Okay. Now what you want to do is, I have that melted butter that we use, that we put inside, and you want to lightly rub it on the top of your crust. You don't want a whole ton of it, but just a little bit. It's going to help brown the crust and give it a nice buttery flavor. And then I have a grinder full of cinnamon and sugar. You can make your own cinnamon sugar mixture and just kind of place that on top. Give it a nice brown color. And your little individual pie is ready to go. So out of one pie crust, I would say that you could probably get 4 good handheld pies. So you can get 8 out of a box of pie crust, and they're just nice little individual snacks. Okay, so I am going to switch spots with this parchment paper. And this you're going to place in a 375 degree preheated oven for approximately 13 to 15 minutes. You don't want it to get overly brown, but you want it to be, you know, a nice, pretty baked brown, and you want to make sure your apples are cooked inside, and then it helps also caramelize that dulce de leche in there. So I am going to switch these with this, and those will go in the oven. Okay, so these are done. You can see them, and they're beautiful little handheld pockets of yumminess. And I have my pumpkin one that I made, as well as my circle with the mason jar. All right, so there's the pumpkin. And with the pumpkin, I did not use a fork around the edges. Oops, sliding. I didn't use a fork around the edges. What I did is I did the same technique as the circle, but instead of using the fork, I used my fingers, and I just really, really pressed it together to make sure that it was sealed. And, you know, you'll have some of the caramelization come out, and that's okay. That's really yummy to eat, so it's not like it's bad. But then you have your pumpkin shape, and then you have your circle pie. And these are ready to go. These were in the oven for 14 minutes on 375. And I just took them out, and you can see how nice and golden brown they are. And these will be delicious, and they're easy to display, and everyone can just grab one when they're ready to have one after dinner. And just make sure you have your whipped cream ready to go, or your vanilla ice cream, or whatever you like to serve with your pie, and everybody will have a delicious dessert. So let's go ahead and cut open. I'm going to cut open the pumpkin so you can see what it looks like. It's still steaming. So it's pretty warm, but I'm going to kind of put that up there. But you can see it's a beautiful apple pie. There's lots of caramelization in there. It's, when you take a bite, it'll start coming out, but it's just the perfect amount of sweetness to end the day that, you know, is filled with love and food and kindness, and you got to top it off with something sweet. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you get a chance to make these. Like I said, put your own twist on it and put your own filling inside. It doesn't have to be apple pie. It can be pumpkin pie. It can be cheesecake. It can be berries. It can be whatever you want it to be. But have fun with these. Make a variety of them. You know, make 4 of each kind. So you've got different people like different things, and you can do that as well. So anyway, I'm sorry I'm a little scatterbrained today. I really haven't even had a full cup of coffee. So I hope you like this video. Please hit the like button, and I would love for you to share it on your Facebook page with your family and friends. Also go to my Facebook page. It's a group page called Recipe Book and Ask to be Accepted, and you can go on there and share your ideas as well. You do not have to record them. You can just put them right on the page, and have some fun with these. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, and until next time, next video, God bless.